All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. As always, I'm your host, Adam Smith, with Just the Tips Coaching. And with me, pretty much as always, is my co-host, one of our other coaches, all-around superhuman, Mrs. Jen Waybor Hart. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Adam.
Big news coming out of Maine today, huh? We can certainly talk about that.
Yeah.
It is hockey time in in college and in the pros. But yeah, I guess Cale Makar's little brother is bailing on UMass for Maine
for his senior year.
And of course, he's already been drafted by the Colorado Avalanche here in Denver.
Yeah.
So pretty cool stuff. Thanks for that tidbit. And let's talk about our guests today, though, because this is really unique. I don't think we've ever had a mother and son real estate team on the show before. Certainly husband and wife.
Yep.
That kind of thing. But yeah, this is probably a new twist for us. So welcome to the show, Tracy and Stone Hulsey. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Good morning.
So, Tracy, you've been on the show before.
I have.
And obviously, we've known each other for a good long while and done work together over the years. And this isn't anything new to you. But I'm guessing whenever that last appearance on our podcast was before Stone was actually a real estate agent.
That is correct.
In fact, Stone may have still been in elementary school at the time, as far back as this feels like. Anyway, I can't remember the last time we had you on the show. It's been
It's been a while. I think he was still in high school, honestly.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And gosh, you guys have done a lot and dealt with a lot over the last couple of years. And give us some background. So let's start with Stone, because Stone's never been on the show. He's relatively new to this, and he's relatively new to being a real estate agent. So I think, the rest of us are all just thinking, what the fuck are you thinking, man? No, I'm kidding. That's certainly not the case. But yeah, how did you get into this? I mean, why did you think, and I know watching your mom do this forever has certainly been a big influence for you, but what was the catalyst? How did you come to this decision?
Well, it was, you graduate and they're like, do you want to work a 9 to 5 at a desk? Or do you want to go work with your mom and sell houses? And I was like, I guess I'll go work with my mom.
Okay. Well, know that an entrepreneur will work 80 hours a week to make sure that he doesn't have to work 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Absolutely. So how long has this been going on? When did you actually get your license?
I got it in 2021, towards like the fall of 2021.
Okay.
Did not know what the hell I was doing for a year. Just kind of shadowed her for basically a year, and then went from there.
Well,
I still don't know as much as I should. It's just like, I guess it takes 5 years or something.
No, none of us do. Yeah, after 25 years, I can still say comfortably that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I think that's just adulthood.
Yeah,
we just make it look good. So hang in there, because eventually you will also realize that you're never going to figure it all out.
Well, Stone also failed to mention that he entered his senior year of college in 2020.
Interesting times, yeah.
So his second semester of school, everything changed.
I passed stats because of it, because that went all online. if I was in person for that would have been terrible.
It's an awful class. That's like the one college nightmare I still have.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, well, why don't you take a real estate course, get your license, in addition to what he was already getting his degree in, which was a business degree. And I said, you can, after graduation, come to work with me, because all the internships had gone away for seniors, because nothing was in person. Everything was online, remote. Even his college graduation, we watched live streaming.
Wow.
We didn't get to see it in person, sadly.
Okay. Yeah, there was a lot of that going on. I remember quite a bit of it with my son, who's a little younger, but a lot of high school was during the pandemic, and there were some really desirable internships overseas that he was no longer allowed to apply for because, well, Europeans didn't really want dirty Americans coming over there. You diseased Americans as a so yeah, that I get a lot of. Okay, so you've basically been at this full bore for a couple of few years then.
Yeah. I just work under her. I do all the stuff she doesn't want to do her marketing, see her files to the closing table, stuff like that. So,
Yeah, I caught you guys having a little bit of chatter about a client doing, excuse me, a design center trip,
Yeah.
a new build, and them needing a rental in between. And yeah, Tracy's obviously just focusing on big picture, and it sounds like Stone's picking up the details.
yeah, I'm just plugging away in the background.
Well,
It's
he's
all right.
been exposed to a heck of a lot more than most agents do in the first couple of years
Mhm.
of his career because he's had to jump in with both feet.
So this lends to some interesting conversation about things we rarely get to when it comes to what we talk about on the show and how it correlates with what we do in our coaching program, namely team structure, exit strategies. How are we building a business that we can walk away from while it still pays us? Where does this lay in for you guys? Tracy, are there any other agents on your team?
No.
It's you and
So-
Stone.
When I started my career, we lived in California. My husband had retired from law enforcement, and we moved up to Northern California, where his mom and dad were both real estate agents. He got his license and worked for a few years, and they were so busy. They said, "We really need you to get your license." I loved my job. I did not want to leave my job. I did not want to go into real estate because I saw how hard they worked. And this was back in the day when you actually had a landline at your house and it would ring all the time for them. And I was like, no, when I
No.
get off work, I want to be off work. Like, I don't want my home phone ringing because somebody needs to go see a house.
Well, you
So,
get to do that every day when you go to sleep,
yeah, go
right?
to sleep.
But otherwise, and I hope I don't scare Stone with any of this, although I doubt it after his whole life with you and watching some of this. But it is literally an eyes open, eyes closed job, 7 days a week.
Yeah. So I got my license when Stone was a baby. He was just born, and I did all of the transactions. I did all the paperwork for my in-laws and my husband. And then eventually became a buyer's agent for them. And we cranked out a lot of sales. This was all pre-recession from 2000 till about 2005-06.
Okay.
And luckily, I had the forethought to buy a house in Colorado. So we would come back and forth because this is where I grew up. And when I felt California's market slowing, things were changing. It was, it had been so fast and so furious for so many years, and it wasn't moving as quickly. We ended up selling our house in the fall of 2006,
Wow.
made double our money on that house, and jumped out just in time.
Ooh,
And when I
those
came to
those
Colorado,
next people sold it for half price, mind you.
yeah,
Yeah.
sadly it went to foreclosure.
Ooh,
Hmm.
yeah. California
And,
got hit hard.
Yeah. So I started my career in Colorado in 2007,
Oh,
and everybody was leaving. And they're like, the market's horrible. I'm like, no, go to California. That's a horrible market.
yeah, that's true.
We have a good market. So, and I learned a lot, just like, there's always disruptors in real estate.
Oh, for sure. I think that that's true in anything where there are economics, macroeconomics that are going to impact ebbs and flows of big assets, finance, these kinds of things. Yeah, that's just inevitable. But I don't know how many people we've talked. Well, we don't talk to a whole lot of people that have been doing this as long as you have, Tracy, because there just aren't that many out there, right? We talk a lot about the NAR stats. 80% fail in the first 2 years, 85% in the first 5 years, that we're probably somewhere between 1 to 3% of real estate agents have ever seen a buyer's market. right?
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Just because of the longevity. So having you on the show to reflect that, but even talking to some of the, how do I put this nicely without calling Tracy old? This is really bugging me here because
I'm
she's
old.
not. But, of the old dogs in the business, those of us that have been doing it, those of us that lived through what was going on long before that recession, 07, 08, and subsequent to it, how many people had the foresight that in 06, like, things are really shifting. We need to be making some adjustments. And a lot of us did that in 21 as well, to bring it more recently. And this will obviously play a little more favorable with Stone's current career history, as short as it is. But yeah, having to make those kinds of adjustments, trying to have a little bit of foresight, trying to stay in tune with what's going to go on in the market, what little changes are we seeing that are going to lead to big changes, is really an important piece of the puzzle. I think a lot of people wear blinders to it. I don't know if it's intentional, but kind of a head in the sand mentality. And that's part of this result. So, Tracy, you've now seen 2 significant recessions. Granted, a 15-year window between the 2 of them, which is probably long when it comes to real estate, mortgages, those kinds of things. Because I'm constantly commenting on how I'm going to work one more cycle. So from dip to dip, 07, 08 to 21, 22. Yeah, even 22, 23, I guess would be a more appropriate definition of that. But I don't think these cycles are typically this long.
No, it was unheard of with what we saw in property value gains during COVID. It was, and what we've experienced for the past 12, 13, 14 years, were consistently property values would go up and up and up. I mean, it was unsustainable, honestly.
Well, it still is.
It still is.
It still
but
is.
That's a whole.
Yeah, that's a whole other show. We could talk about all the factors that are leading to housing shortage and supply and demand results and those kinds of things. And I would think we're going to continue to see this problem for a good long while, probably the remainder of your career and mine. Mm-hmm. Maybe the remainder of Stone's. I guess we'll have to see. We're going to have to keep tabs on you, buddy. And maybe you'll be one of the few in right now that will see another buyer's market if we ever get one. It'll only be like 3 or 4 decades from now, maybe. So hang in there.
We'll see.
All right. So back to that previous lecture, as it were. Tracy, it seems like Stone's kind of a building block of your exit strategy here.
He is. And when he started, I really impressed the fact, like, don't do this for me, do this for you. I want you to love this career as much as I do. Because if you don't love it like I do, you won't be successful. You'll be resentful. And I don't want that feeling like you were forced to go into the family business.
Kind of is, but yeah.
Yeah. Because, I think, honestly, this has probably been one of those life-changing careers where you get to meet and interact with people that you would never, ever have an opportunity to ever meet, because most people live in their little circles. They don't journey outside their work or their home more than a 6-block radius, truly. So we have a huge network, and I'm happy to say now his generation is all ready to buy houses.
Yeah, kind of.
Where are you, Stone? You're Gen Z?
I don't like to be associated with them, but I guess technically 99.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's Gen Z.
All right.
I mean, you could be Gen Alpha.
Well, and Stone, don't take that the wrong way, because every generation produces people. Tracy will back me up. We had nothing good to say about the millennials for a long, long time. In fact, the joke was always millennials versus boomers. hey guys, don't forget there's a generation in between that hates you both.
Exactly.
Here we are.
Exactly.
But we kept our mouths shut. That's why we're the forgotten generation. Okay.
Mhm.
But Jen's a millennial. And one
Smack
of the
dab in
most
the middle.
badass, kick-ass millennials. And Jen's predecessor, who probably never catches our show, Kelly, was a millennial. A little younger, but still in that band. And also a really kick-ass individual. So, yeah, there are always going to be highs and lows, that sort
Right.
of thing. So, yeah. Are you living in your mom's basement, Stone? Tell true.
No.
All right. All right. So I guess we won't lump you into the stereotypes of what's going on in those younger generations. And frankly, you guys aren't all that young anymore.
I
I
know.
know, almost a
Right.
quarter century.
Wow. I'm going to order you a walker.
Yeah, the knees
Have
hurt.
that, have
the
that
back.
sent over.
Yeah, got to focus on my stretching and my breathing more.
Oh, my God.
No, 24 isn't like 23.
Okay. So it's going to be a minute before we invite Stone back on the show because now he's just hurting our feelings. So, yeah, wait till you hit 40, 50. Come on, bud. Those warranties wear out fast. I promise you. Good stuff. Well,
Exactly.
and Tracy, if we can, mute you for a second. What do you think, Stone? Are you enjoying it? Are you passionate about it? Are you falling in love with it? Don't get me wrong. We would never expect you to reach the pinnacle of being in love with the real estate business like your mom.
No,
She is a beacon when it comes to that shit.
there's good weeks and bad weeks.
Okay.
Definitely, especially like with the people I'm trying to work with, and at my age, like not as many people take you seriously. Hence, the mustache makes me look a little bit older. Like I know a little bit more than I do, but
Or maybe like a law enforcement officer. We'll ask you that.
But like some weeks, it's like, oh my god, everything's great, and then the next week, it's like, I'm gonna go work in a fire lookout tower.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Burger King. This is awful.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just for me right now. It's just up and down every week.
Okay.
But I enjoy it because it's super flexible compared to a lot of other things I could be doing right now, and I'm lucky to have it into the business. So.
Well, you've certainly got a
At the
great
moment,
mentor.
Yeah. At the moment, I wouldn't want to do anything else. So.
Okay. I think that's a good answer. And if you want to scoot your chair over so she doesn't smack you while we're getting honest answers to some of these questions, then certainly feel free. And for those of you listening to the podcast, some of our audience catches this as a video cast. And Tracy and Stone are sitting in front of the same camera, same microphone, so on and so forth. So hopefully we don't hear anything that would prompt us to call in for a domestic violence type of situation, but I think it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But
We're
yeah,
good.
and Stone, it is. There's no question, and I'm sure your mom has told you 1,000 times, although obviously words hit differently when they're coming from somebody who, didn't birth you, raise you, nurse you, change your dirty diapers, that kind of shit. We all have a very hard time listening to our parents, and sometimes a stranger can tell us the exact same thing that our parents did 100 times, but it takes that one time to really strike a chord. And you're not wrong, but I don't think that that's necessarily real estate. I think that's being self-employed. I think that's being entrepreneurial. I think the ups and downs are just part of that genre. I think cycles, it being cyclical, is part of that game. And I'll bet if we asked your mom to look at it over the course of a quarter century, she would say, yeah, it's absolutely ups and downs and ups and downs. But eventually the ups go up more, the downs come down less. And this is where she's at today. And, we have some prerequisites for people being on the show, especially being on the show more than once, that we know these are people who do a good amount of business. And if you're on the show a second time, we know you're not a total douchebag because we do have those people. There are agents out there that produce and are still douchebags. And there are agents out there that produce and are really cool people. Now you're talking needle in a stack of needles, but your mom is one of those needles. So yeah, grasp that. I promise you, you have probably one of the best mentors of all the people we know. And I don't know, what do you figure, Jen, between all the speaking engagements and travel and roundtables and realtor boards and on, we've probably met 100,000, 200,000 real estate agents over the course of our careers. And we probably like 5 of them
On a good week.
on a good
Yes.
week. And your mom's one of them.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good.
So yeah, you are really, really in good hands. Jen and I would be hard pressed to come up with a better mentor.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So
And it helps a lot. It's funny when I do my own deals, and I feel like other agents, they just try to bully me around in a way.
oh, that's
I'm-
funny. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah. But then I'm like, I've done however many deals under her, and I'm able to call people out on lies, and I've gotten people a lot of free stuff. So, but they always think I'm some idiot to begin with. But every once in a while, you gotta, call your mom up and say, "Hey, mom, can you?"
Okay, so here,
real quick.
in what world is it okay to say, I'm going to tell my mom?
Exactly.
Here's that one real world situation where, Stone, you absolutely have a green light to say, I'm going to tell my mom on you.
Yeah,
No question. Yeah, that is funny. And we talk about that quite a bit. And I guess the phrase Jen and I use most commonly is, you can't bully your way to a closing. You've got to be smart. You've got to be logical. You've got to be sympathetic. You've got to be empathetic. You've got to be trying to take good care of your clients. You've got to be trying to make sure that the other party is taking good care of their clients. I mean, there's just a lot to this. These are really big fucking deals. You guys are dealing, all of us are dealing in the largest transactions of people's lives. And I don't care if that's a first-time homebuyer getting a crappy little condo or Bill Gates buying a multi-billion-dollar office complex. It's still likely the biggest transaction of their lives. So you've got to treat it with logic and sympathy and empathy and business acumen, so on and so forth. And yeah, Stone, I got bad news for you, man. You're going to come across a lot of people who don't behave that way.
Yeah, that's what it tends to seem like.
He already has.
Yeah.
Well, here's the secret. And this is true in the mortgage space as well, although it's improving a little. We had 60% that did not renew their licenses this year, so there may be some improvement there. But any licensed profession, 99% are giving the rest a bad name.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Agents, lenders, lawyers, doctors, dentists, hairdressers, whatever. It's a rough gig that way, no question. But you do have a killer mentor. All right, so Tracy, how do you see this handoff going? I mean, are you taking clients and saying, "Hey, look, you got to work with Stone. This is an area he's real familiar with. He's absolute go-getter. He's got time on his hands. He is going to make shit happen for you." I mean, where do you see this eventual
Yeah, I
transition
do have
happening?
an exit strategy, but it's years. It's more than 10 years away.
Okay.
So Stone does attend every listing appointment, and pretty much I introduce him to all of my clients because I want them to trust him as much as they trust me. Anytime he reaches out on my behalf, that he has the same vested interest in that person, because I do want to be able to hand my book of business, because I do have a large book of business. And again, I'm hitting that second, third generation of clients right now that I want him to carry on. And those kids eventually, after he's done 20 plus years in the business, that he's taken care of.
Tracy, do you trust him?
Absolutely.
It's good enough for me. I mean, damn.
But
You're telling us the truth, right? No, I'm kidding.
He's learned a lot. When he first started, I had taken a listing, and I had him enter it, and I belong to both the Denver board as well as the Pikes Peak board, so I advertised my listings on both MLSs. And there was a property that I had listed that he had mistakenly advertised as having air conditioning.
Oops.
It didn't.
Oops.
Oh God.
Whoopee. But thankfully, I've been in this situation before, and I knew how to handle it.
Did
he
Stone
didn't
buy an
have
air
to-
conditioner?
Yeah, I was counting the pennies in my bank
I'll
account.
bet.
But that's the only way you're going to learn, is by doing. And truly, he's like, it's been like drinking out of a fire hydrant.
I'm sure. And we talk about this kind of thing in my office all the time. My team has made mistakes that have cost money, significant
Mhm.
amounts of money. And I promise you, Stone, that those are mistakes they only make once.
Mhm.
Never going to happen again.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
that's okay. In fact, our philosophy when it comes to that stuff is fuck up faster.
Yeah.
Seriously, because you're going to figure out what you're going to screw up and fix it quicker. So
Yeah.
that's actually a really good one to learn really fast. I dig it.
Well, and a lot of the systems that I have in place that I have passed on to him are based from mistakes that I made early in my career to double, triple check myself, whether it's communication, inclusions, dates, deadlines, whatever the case may be. I'm very systemized, and I make sure that he's following that same kind of path, because I think a lot of people are just flung into a transaction. They don't pay attention to anything. They don't watch.
That might be the single greatest piece you could get from a mentor,
Yeah.
right? No, seriously, Stone, your mom is like a scared straight program. She already made these mistakes, so you don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
She's teaching you as much what not to do.
yeah, and I make her double check my stuff that I do too, because after that AC incident, that was terrifying.
Can we ask what the resolution was? How did we fix that?
It wasn't really even a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't. That one wasn't going anywhere anyway.
Yeah,
so,
that's in the back of your mind, though.
yeah.
You're
I wake up in the
remember
middle
that
of the
the
night.
remainder of your career. Yeah.
Yeah.
AC nightmares. Whoa. That's okay. Stone, have you started having real estate dreams yet?
Oh, every single night. It's really bad.
Yep.
It's
All right. So
bad.
you're in. It's now we've ruined you for anything else.
Yeah, like
Perfect.
I'm running late to something, or I forgot like a form or something, and yeah, I wake up in the middle of the night a lot of nights because I think I have to be doing something.
It's still better than statistics.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we could even begin to emphasize for our audience how important it is, how lucky you are to have good mentorship. I mean, your mom's been doing this forever.
Mhm.
I don't mean that to sound the way that it does, but she and I both have been doing this for a long, long time. Tracy, when did you first get your California license? Do you remember what
2000.
year?
It was 2000.
Oh, God, now I feel really old. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not fun. That was not fun. So we're literally talking a quarter of a century.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of mentorship, and one, we don't have a lot of agents that can say they're active in the business today and that they're successful in the business today that started as far back as 2000. There are just very few out there. They're just not all that common. On top of that, to have reached the level of success that your mom has all this time is a pretty big deal. And there are agents that, do okay, that make a living, that can pay their dues, whatever the case may be. Maybe if they're lucky, pay their own mortgage, that sort of thing. But there's a pinnacle beyond that I'm not really sure I could describe. And I don't know that you're going to see it having such a close relationship your entire life. But your mom really gives a shit. She cares about her clients. She cares about her colleagues. She cares about her advocates. She never talks about you, so we don't know if she actually cares about you, but that's okay. But no, really, this is to get this kind of mentorship and leadership. It's unheard of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so consider yourself very, very fortunate. And Jen, if you can figure out how to get the two of them back on the show again, because I
think we
think
can do
that
that.
would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. We're actually supposed
All
to have a mother-daughter duo on the show soon too.
Ooh,
So,
nice.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, well, since
Nancy
you've
and
got
Julia
the floor,
Arnett.
oh, the Arnett's, that will be cool.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
well, since you've got the floor, tell us what else is going on in the wide world of JTT.
Yeah, the biggest thing is Social Media Day Denver coming up on June 14th. It is a one-day conference that we work with Metro State University on. And like I say, every time people ask us who it's for, and it's for everyone. I mean, the person doing their own social media, if you have a business doing social media for others, if you're just curious about what's going on in social media, which changes vastly year after year, it's for you. So it's a one-day conference at Metro State University. It's always a good time. If you're interested in speaking or sponsoring, you can reach out to me at smdaydenver@gmail.com. Other than that, Adam and I are doing our one-day trainings together. We're headed to the mountains on Friday to do one of those.
And I'm going to put St. Louis back on your calendar today, too. We're going to do that again.
Oh boy.
Sorry. Yeah, St. Louis.
We'll have to talk about
Yay.
that date.
Yeah.
Other than that, we will be gearing up for Mile High Mastermind coming up in September, which I was just talking to our friend Ken, and he was like, May is so far away. I was like, Ken, that's like 3 weeks away. September will be here in a half a second. So all kinds of stuff. But you can also find past episodes of the show, our weekly little tip, all the things by going to justthetipscoaching.com.
Very cool. And Halsey, thank you. This has been
thank you,
amazing.
guys.
This is one of the coolest stories we know of certainly in our market. And for those of you that are listening, Tracy and Stone are kind of in our market. Actually, they're in both our markets because I am in the Denver area, Jen's in the Colorado Springs area, and this is pretty much where you guys roll. So yeah, I think that this is a lot of fun. And Stone, we are ecstatic for you, man. We're looking forward to some killer things.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And other than that, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. You can catch us live on Mondays at 9:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And a mere 48 hours later, catch the podcast on Amazon, Apple, and Spotify. And we will see you guys next week with another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage.